Hello friends and welcome to Mysterious Lost. In today's video we will examine 4 mysterious stories of those who have disappeared yet live to return and share their bizarre tales. First case about Michael St. Laurent. Michael St. Laurent was a 45-year-old construction worker and experienced hiker. He went for a solo hike in the North Shore Mountains north of Vancouver on September 10, 2022. He was supposed to return home on the 11th, but he never showed up. His family and friends reported him missing, and a search was launched. The search was led by North Shore Rescue, a volunteer organization that specializes in mountain rescue. The search team used a variety of methods, including ground crews, helicopters, and drones. They also searched databases of missing persons and unidentified remains. After 9 days, the search team was starting to lose hope. But then, on September 20th, they received a tip from a hiker who had seen someone matching St. Laurent's description in the mountains. The search team was able to locate St. Laurent, and he was rescued. St. Laurent was in a weakened state, but he was alive. He had suffered from frostbite and hypothermia, but he was expected to make a full recovery. The government's response to St. Laurent's disappearance was swift and coordinated. The RCMP, the BC Ministry of Forests, Lands and Natural Resource Operations, and North Shore Rescue all worked together to find him. The government also provided financial assistance to St. Laurent's family and friends. St. Laurent's disappearance was a reminder of the dangers of hiking in the wilderness. Even the most experienced hikers can get lost or injured. The government's response to St. Laurent's disappearance was a success, and it helped to ensure that he was rescued safely. In addition to the search and rescue efforts, the government also took steps to prevent future disappearances. They issued a public safety bulletin warning hikers of the dangers of hiking alone in the North Shore Mountains. They also created a new website with information on hiking safety. Michael St. Laurent's story is a reminder of the importance of being prepared when you go hiking in the wilderness. Always let someone know where you're going and take the necessary supplies. And if you do get lost, stay calm and don't panic. The government is committed to finding you and bringing you home safely. Second case. Carol Kiparsky and Ian Irwin. Carol Kiparsky and Ian Irwin, a couple in their 70s, went missing on Valentine's Day 2020 after going for a hike in Tamales Bay State Park in Northern California. They were found alive and well a week later, on February 22, 2020. The couple had been reported missing by their family and friends on February 15th, after they failed to return from their hike. A search and rescue operation was launched involving over 500 people, including law enforcement, firefighters, and volunteers. The search was hampered by the cold and wet weather, as well as the dense vegetation in the area. But on February 22nd, a group of volunteer search and rescue workers found the couple in a very dense drainage that was overgrown with foliage, according to Sergeant Brenton Schneider of the Marin County Sheriff's Office. The couple was both in a weakened state, but they were alive and well. They had survived by drinking from a puddle and eating berries. The couple's rescue was a miracle. They had been lost in the woods for a week in cold and wet weather. They were also in their 70s, which made their survival even more remarkable. The couple had gone for a hike in the park on February 14th, Valentine's Day. They were supposed to return home that evening, but they never showed up. Their family and friends reported them missing on February 15th. A search and rescue operation was launched immediately. The search was hampered by the cold and wet weather, as well as the dense vegetation in the area. On February 22nd, a group of volunteer search and rescue workers found the couple in a very dense drainage that was overgrown with foliage. The couple was both in a weakened state, but they were alive and well. They had survived by drinking from a puddle and eating berries. The couple's rescue was a miracle. They had been lost in the woods for a week in cold and wet weather. They were also in their 70s, which made their survival even more remarkable. I am glad that Kiparsky and Irwin were found alive and well. Their story is a heartwarming reminder of the power of human resilience. Third case. Sheryl Powell. Sheryl Powell, 53, was camping with her husband and 2 dogs in the Inyo National Forest in California on July 11, 2019. The next day she went for a hike and did not return. Her husband reported her missing, and a search and rescue operation was launched. Powell told investigators that she was hiking in a remote area of the forest when she was approached by a man. The man was described as being about 6 feet tall, with a medium build and a shaved head. He was wearing a black t-shirt and jeans. Powell said that the man threatened to harm her and her dogs if she did not go with him. She fled into the woods and hid, but she lost sight of the man. The search for Powell was called off after 3 days, but her husband continued to look for her. On July 16th, he found her in a remote area of the forest, about 10 miles from where she had disappeared. Powell was exhausted and dehydrated, but she was otherwise unharmed. Powell told investigators that she had been running for horrors when she came to a clearing. She saw a cabin in the distance and ran towards it. The cabin was empty, but there was a well in the yard. Powell drank from the well and then collapsed. She woke up the next morning and found her way back to the main trail. The Inyo County Sheriff's Department is still investigating the case. They have not identified the man who Powell said threatened her, and they are not sure why he attacked her. Powell has said that she does not know the man and that she has never seen him before. The case of Sheryl Powell is a reminder of the dangers of hiking in remote areas. It is important to be aware of your surroundings and to take precautions to stay safe. If you are ever in a dangerous situation, it is important to stay calm and to try to escape. If you are unable to escape, try to find a safe place to hide and call for help. Case number 4, Holly Courtier. Holly Courtier, a 38-year-old mom from California, was an experienced hiker who knew Zion National Park like the back of her hand. She had been hiking in the park for years, and she was always prepared for anything. She was lost for 2 weeks in one of the most beautiful and dangerous parts of the United States, even though her disappearance eventually made a big deal in the news. No one knows for sure how Holly got to where she is now. She was having some sort of mental breakdown as she left her house in the middle of the night without telling anyone where she was going. She later said that she was trying to get away from the world and wanted to be by herself for a while. But Holly seems to have gotten more than she bargained for, because while she did get some alone time, she also got a lot more. Even though the injuries she got were strange, her story doesn't make much sense either. Here's what we know about what happened to Holly Courtier at Zion State Park, and what she said when she was found on October 18, 2020. She looked like she was worn out, very thirsty, and had lost 15 pounds. He also had a concussion. What she thought would be a short spiritual journey turned into a fight for her life. Her disappearance is different because there was a lot of panic on the internet and a lot of calls to the police from Holly's family and friends for help finding her. These calls and calls to the police turned into rumors and hate messages, so many that the family had to cancel all of their social media accounts and even change their phone numbers. So, What made people so angry at a woman who just wanted to get away for a while and raise their spiritual vibration? What made Holly get up and sneak out like a thief in the night to go for a hike? According to her family, Holly is an experienced hiker who knows Zion National Park well and is able to survive the harsh conditions. Holly hit her head on the sharp edge of a tree. She had her hammock tied to this tree. This happened right after she got there and started the first trail. After this blow to the head, the person was very confused. Even though she was close to the River Holly, she refused to drink the water because she was too tired to move, because of concerns about toxicity. When found 2 weeks later, Holly was so dehydrated she couldn't open her mouth. Holly was found alive, and luckily, she didn't have any serious injuries. Her kidneys barely worked, and she had very little potassium in her body. She did get better all the way. But everyone, whether they believe Holly's story or not, has one question that hasn't been answered. Why, when she could hear the people searching for her close by and calling her name, they never heard her or saw her when she called back? They were only a few feet from the Holly. She was too weak to go up to them, and they didn't hear her yells or see the person sitting and praying in front of them. She would get through this without dying. Let me know what you think in the comments below. We do ask that you discuss these cases with the utmost respect, not only for the people in the stories, but also for the other people in the comments. In the meantime, be nice to yourself and to each other.